Hello, Martha. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I want you to go and introduce yourself and the role, your role with PCUN.
Hi, Shemia. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to have a conversation today. My name is Marta Sonato, and I'm the political director at PCUN, Oregon's Farmworker Union.
Wonderful. And how long have you been there?
I've been there for actually 4 years already.
Yeah, I remember the meeting. I remember the meeting in my office when Ramon came in because he was leaving, and he was that was his tour of introducing you as the new director of operations, and so the new executive director. So what exactly is your role at PCUN and your kind of professional background that led you there?
Yes, so I am in charge of the political department, so everything that has to do with lobbying, advocacy, our political organizing, and really pushing policies forth that are equitable and just and inclusive of our farm workers, of our Latino working families across the state. Our lens is on economic justice, although everything intersects, and so we also work on immigration with our partners at PCUN and on many other issues with our coalition partners. But throughout the years, we've worked to increase workplace protections for farm workers to ensure they're included and not carved out. And so that's a little bit of what I do. I actually, right after graduating from Willamette University, I started my political career as a housing and human services policy assistant in the office of Governor Kate Brown. And then from then on, I went on to be a legislative aide for Senator Gelser. And those two experiences were fantastic. I learned so much and also had the opportunity to meet a lot of great people. And then, shortly after that, I was contacted by PCUN and to run a parallel campaign, a candidate campaign. And I thought, I'll do this for a couple months. And here I am 4 years later.
Last words.
That's how it works.
I love it.
So far, it's been an excellent experience. And it's been really powerful to be able to advocate and lobby on behalf of our farm workers. I also come from a background of farm workers, so it's a full circle coming together.
That's wonderful, and I certainly appreciate the work that we've done together, most recently and most notably on driver's licenses for all. Yes. But I know we've worked together on a lot of more discrete issues as well. But that's one of the bigger campaigns that we've run and successfully won together at the legislature. That was a big lift, having just passed it a few years earlier, and then it had gone to the ballot and been defeated by Oregonians. So to be able to come back and pass it strongly, obviously was a lot of celebration. So I appreciate the work that we've done together. As your community does deal with the realities of a pandemic and COVID-19 and the novel coronavirus, what are the common experiences that you're hearing from farm workers and Latinx working families?
Oh, many, many, many different concerns. Our workers are concerned about protections in the workplace. They're concerned that they might get sick, that a family member might get sick, that their children might get sick. And so they certainly also are very concerned about income, about what happens if I lose my job, and what sort of economic resources are available for me, and especially for those workers that are undocumented, that are falling through the cracks of the federal package. They need to take action there as well, and they have really no safety net to rely on. And so it's been a huge, huge concern for a lot of those workers. We're hearing lots of people are stressed. They're really anxious. They really want action. They hear about all these resources that are happening, but we constantly hear the urgency from them that we can't wait any more longer. Rent was already due yesterday for a lot of our families. If you lose your source of income, then that affects everything, your ability to access food, to pay housing, childcare, many different things. And so those are some of the things that we've been hearing. Additionally, our workers feel ignored. They feel hidden because of these protections that are not, immediately available. Even when they're working, they also want to ensure that their, employers are following the social distancing guidelines. the protocols to ensure that there's sanitation happening, that they're provided the right equipment, that they're informed of their workers' rights as well. So we've most certainly heard quite a bit. We have 3 organizers on staff, and one of them is very focused on our farm workers. And so she's been hearing a lot of these concerns, as well as our other 2 workers who focus on the larger Latino community. And they want something done. And unfortunately, in this moment of crisis, we are moving quite slow as a state to address those issues.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask too, is how is PCUN responding? Advocacy, providing resources, what can we do to help as to bolster those resources and the advocacy that you're providing?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a 2-prong approach. So our organizers are directly connecting with workers, are surveying what are the top issues that are coming up. And some of them are also providing direct services, or, connecting them directly to resources. One of the concerns was unemployment. So those that are eligible for unemployment have already filed their unemployment claim, yet we have the employment department that is hugely saturated at this moment, and things are moving really slow there. People are really concerned about the increasing prices on food, such as beans, rice, and so that's another concern that we've been hearing from them, especially also around access to certain, food stamps, foods that are covered with food stamps. And so what our organizers have been doing is connecting them with these resources in the community, whether they be local or more state, or with other organizations that we partner with. And at the same time, we are working on a legislative proposal as well called the Oregon Worker Relief Fund to specifically address the issue with UI, or unemployment insurance, and eligible immigrant workers that are not covered by anything, and they're still losing their jobs. And these are workers not only in the fields, but also in restaurants. Restaurants have been hit hugely, and a lot of workers have been laid off. And so that's one of the areas that we're pushing at the state level, and we're building a coalition around that of social justice, community-based organizations, labor is also with us, civil rights organizations. So we are continuing to push forward on both ends.
Right, and before you mentioned undocumented communities, and I just wonder if you could say another word about impact specifically on them. For example, I've heard anecdotal reports of employers being less willing to handle cash due to concerns about transmitting the virus by handing somebody something. And how is that, what impact does that have on folks, whether they're undocumented or not, but that maybe don't have a formal banking structure and don't use banks and credit unions?
Mm-hmm. That is most certainly a concern, and one that I've also been hearing from community members. A lot of our farm workers they handle a lot of cash. I know a lot of them that do, and they don't really know how to, do transactions with a debit or a credit card. So their ability to be able to pay with cash is definitely something of concern. I think for specifically, undocumented workers, the protections fall really, really short on a range of things, from access to healthcare to, even being able to access the unemployment insurance. So it really falls throughout many different ranges. Housing, they're all falling through the cracks, and that's what we want to make sure that we're addressing, and that we're also uplifting these stories as well, to put a face on the people that are being impacted by this. And so we are also doing, through our surveys, collecting stories, and our hope is to put them on the forefront as well. Of course, with confidentiality as well along those stories. But it's important to showcase these are the faces of the people that are essential and integral in our communities, and not only the backbone of our economy, but throughout our different communities. This is how we thrive, right? With everyone being protected and being able to, successfully access these kinds of resources.
Right. Well, thank you for the work that you've done. What are you doing to take care of yourself? Have you found any new shows to binge? Have you found any new snacks you like to make at home? Any new books that you've read? What are you doing to kind of make sure that you know, those of you who are on the front lines, those of us who are trying to help others who are on the front lines, what are you doing to take care of yourself to make sure that you have the stamina for this long haul?
It's yeah, that's a great question, and one that I am constantly working at as well. So nowadays I just spend my entire day at home, right? And so what I've been doing is I've actually been cooking more. I always refuse to cook for other specific reasons, but I've actually been starting to get more into it. I have been actually enjoying it. I would say this is the third time this year that I've cooked, and it actually came out good.
Nice.
I'm really excited about that. So I'm thinking third time's the charm, but now I actually have to enjoy what I eat, because once I cook it, I just want to like give it to somebody else, you know, feed somebody else in here instead of eating it. And so I think I just have to close that gap a little bit by continuing to cook. Then also, you know, exercising at home, making sure I'm getting that exercise time in, and definitely watching lots of movies and shows on Netflix. Which, there's been some very interesting series right now, and so I am looking forward to continue that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are. I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself, because we need you out there doing the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for, most importantly, for the work that you're doing for our farm workers and Latinx working families. Thank you for your endorsement in this race for Secretary of State. I really appreciate having your support and having, you know, the confidence of you and your members and the endorsement board that you guys put me through the ringer, and I'm glad that it came out with the endorsement. So I really appreciate your work, and please do let us know if there's something else that we can do to lift up farm workers, Latinx working families, and just the work that PCUN does.
Thank you so much, Shemia. And we, you know, our farm workers are honored to endorse you for Secretary of State. Really, really excited about that, and we are just so excited to see, you know, the next steps in your campaign. I think the last thing I wanted to emphasize was the Oregon Worker Relief Fund. So we do have toolkits. We would love for people to, you know, put those out there in their newsletters and on social media. Right now, you know, our top priority is to get money directly to UI ineligible immigrant workers. And in order to do that, they can't afford to wait. You know, we need a special session to happen now. And so that's what we're pressuring at the state level, and would love if this campaign could also echo our message.
Very cool. I'm going to look that up, the Oregon Workers Relief Fund,
yes.
and see if I can't help spread the word.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martha. Have a great day.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.